Greetings and welcome back, everyone. It's episode number 33 of The Angry Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined, as always, by Willie Dills Gregory and the triumphant return of our one, the only Miss Jocelyn Moffat.
I didn't die, guys!
She lives!
No Deathrattles here.
You were sick for so long, I thought that when I killed you that I would then cause 2 damage to myself after you died.
Are you calling her leprous right now? Is that what just happened? Okay.
When you're out for this,
I was gonna let it go, but thanks for really pointing that out.
Jocelyn had leprosy, everybody. Just so you know,
right? And for all of you out there who are already typing your emails defending Jocelyn from me, I'm making fun of the point that she was sick for really long. Not that she. Look at her. You don't look leprous.
Thank you.
Like anti-leprous.
I tried really hard. There's a lot of makeup here tonight.
It's actually zombie Jocelyn that we have here. Yeah, what would be your death rattle, Jocelyn? If you had a death rattle, what would it be? Comes back for more?
I think so. Something like that. Like something along the lines of redemption. Like comes back with 1 health. Like, oh, I just have to hit you one more time.
I would say it should be
on the couch so that she doesn't wake Joel up while she PvPs with Dills at 5 in the morning.
It should be like an eye for effect, but like multiplied by
kills you as well,
but multiplied by like 4 or something like.
It's really good to have you back, though. Your perspective on things was sorely missed on the show.
Thanks, guys. I missed the show a lot. I was sick for like a good almost 3 weeks, so
that's easy.
I didn't get to do anything. I wasn't playing volleyball. I wasn't doing the shows. Nothing. It sucked.
It's that terrible Canadian healthcare, clearly, is what it is.
Clearly. I literally went to the doctor and he's like, whoop, nothing I can do for you. You should just go home. I was like, oh.
I love the chat room right now. Damn, Gary, you are smooth. You don't look less leprous at all.
I love how no one has mentioned the fact that my hair is now blonde.
Now, I was going to mention the fact that your hair looks blonder. Weren't you? Yes. You were always blonde, weren't you? You had very light hair.
I did, yeah. But now I have lighter hair.
Right. Looks nice. It's the return of the awesome hair in the Angry Chicken. I got a haircut. It's spiked again.
My hair's just getting out of control. I got the hat. So.
Under that cap, Dills' hair. Dills
has the facial hair. He doesn't normally have that much going on. Yeah.
I'm just gonna. This is an experiment that may continue all the way till Nertacular, but it's so far it's not that good. It's not. But I've always gotten. Just gave up too early, I think, in the past. So this time I'm gonna see if stick it out, and maybe something interesting will happen. I don't know.
I like to think that under Dill's hat right now, he has his hair shaved into like a checkered board, like the old school look that the drummer from No Doubt used to have.
How did you know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, that guy, the drummer for No Doubt, an amazing golfer. He could never be in the Mediocre Golf Association. Little known fact, little tidbit for him.
So he's a really good golfer, whereas as Green Day's drummer is a terrible golfer.
Oh yeah, he's a terrible golfer.
All right.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Good. Even after being trained by the guy who taught Tiger Woods, he still sucks at golf. So.
Some people just aren't good at stuff like that. But he's a wonderful drummer, so we can't.
But an amazing drummer. Yeah.
Anyways, before we get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's episode, I just want to announce that What was
I didn't know that. There's meat and potatoes.
Yeah,
I'm here starving right now. You can't talk about meat and potatoes.
Shipping was kind of pricey that far, so they're gonna get there a little late. Dills, I would inspect them before you eat them. But nonetheless, we're partnering up with Hearthhead, guys. We wanted to announce that on tonight's show. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this right now, you've gotten it the way you've always gotten it. It's not a huge, like nothing really changes for you guys, but Hearthhead will be posting our show in their news feed every week from now on. And more importantly, those of you interested in a little extra Angry Chicken content, Dills, you're over there writing articles now.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting a weekly article up on hearthhead.com. The first one's already up, and it'll be in the show notes. And I encourage everybody to go over there, comment on it, help me out with the very first episode by getting involved and giving me your feedback. I haven't really been doing a lot of writing in a long time, and I realized as I was writing, I write very conversationally because everything I do write is for me to say later on some sort of a podcast.
Exactly.
So it was interesting being like, yeah, this will never be said out loud. But yeah, so I want to encourage everybody to go over there and participate in the conversation, and whatever feedback you have. If you have extra tips that weren't in there, this is kind of a more of a like an overarching kind of view on how when you draft you need to adjust as you go through the draft process. And that's kind of what I talk about in here, which is something that may seem obvious to some, but it's not obvious to players when they first start getting into Arena, and it's an important thing to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So go check that out, hearthhead.com. It's right there on the front page, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
We'll have all of the articles linked in the show notes from here on out as well, because these articles are going to be feeding, I think, directly into our strategy talk from now on.
Pretty much. Most of the time they will be kind of a partner piece to the strategy section of the show. So whatever we talk about on the show will most likely also be in the article. Some stuff that maybe we don't talk about will be there. And some stuff that's not in the article will be talked about on the show. So
dig a little deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
if you like the strategy sections, you're going to like these articles.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and we thank Hearthhead for working with us. They're great guys over there. You should definitely check out their site if you're not already doing so.
Yeah,
I've been
they have a lot of really cool features to go along with some of the standard stuff for just listing cards and stuff. They have a lot of cool things that really kind of delve in a little more and allow you to find out more information about some of these cards than you would from other sites.
Fun fact, we would not actually have the awesome bumpers we currently have if they hadn't gone and gotten all of the audio sounds from Hearthstone, from the raw actual audio files, as opposed to us trying to capture it in game, which is hard because then you're getting all the sound effects on top of it.
Yeah, you hear constant buzzing in the background of people hanging out in the inn.
Yeah,
all that is not there in the Hearthhead version. So all the bumpers I made all feature Hearthhead pulled. I just went and Hearthhead recorded all that stuff. Was able to make those. So Jiraxis laughing, Jiraxis dying, all that stuff came from Hearthhead.
Yeah. So again, go check it out, hearthhead.com. Let's get into the meat of the show, guys. It's time for some Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
We've got yet another new card, guys. The Warlock Naxxramas card has been announced, and it is the Void Caller. This is named correctly. They did not name this like something that belonged to another class. That was nice.
Yeah.
It's a common, again, your arena folk, that affects you. It is 4 mana, it is 3 attack, and it has 4 health. So and it's a demon. And
so
then,
those are some weak stats.
Yeah.
Just based on nothing else.
Yeah, so just looking at that, all right, it costs 4. It's a 4 drop, and it's 3 attack, 4 health. Not loving this. But okay, it's got some text here, Dills. Let's look at it. It says Deathrattle. Put a demon from your hand into the battlefield.
Okay, that's interesting to me. I think that this card is going to change the way people play Warlock. As if we needed another way for people to play Warlock. There's not a lot of demons in most Warlock decks right now. You're not seeing things like Pit Lord. You're not seeing what is the 6/6 that does 1 damage to everything when it comes out? I can't remember the
Infernal.
Some kind of something.
Dread Infernal.
Thank you. Yeah, Dread Infernal. You're not seeing all those cards. So this card is going to require you to have demons in your hand for it to work. Other than that, I don't know. We'll see. I'm holding out my opinion on this one really until I can play with it a little and try to make a deck that makes it work. But it sticks with the Deathrattle theme of Naxxramas, so it's interesting. It's got some. I think there's definitely some value to be had here. Something like a Doomguard coming out without losing 2 cards, because when you have cards like this, you don't often use the battle cry of the demon that comes out.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that exact that exact example, because that was when I read this, it was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, man, that would be amazing if this thing dies and I get my Doomguard. But then immediately I came out of that honeymoon train of thought, and now I'm quite lukewarm on this card because I think this might be a trap card. I think you're gonna win a few games with it, but it's got kind of crappy stats. We're not currently incentivized to play a lot of demons because there's not a lot of demons that are honestly that great.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a trap card. I think this is going to get a lot of people playing it because they won a couple games with it, and that's all they're going to think about is that one time that Void Caller was awesome. But I'm really interested to see what how this thing is going to stack up over the course of many games played.
Yeah. It's always going to be good if it gets a demon onto the battlefield, though. That's like always going to be good in the case of the Void Caller, because currently all the demons have some sort of negative effect when they come out, right? And you can tweak that. Well, yeah, but if this makes Jiraxis come out, that's a good point, Jocelyn, because if this makes Jiraxis come out, Jiraxis will not be. You will not become Jiraxis.
No,
Jiraxis will be a 315 chilling on the board. Yeah. Which is fine, but you really want to become Jiraxis, don't you? So that would be negative in that case. But
also, you're playing a priest, and he Shadow Word Pains Jiraxis.
Yeah.
like just.
But he doesn't cost you
And
9
then
mana.
rage quit.
Yeah.
He doesn't cost 9 mana for a 315 though, so that's kind of cool. But like the Succubus, the Pit Lord, the Doomguard, and if you can kill your Void Caller on your turn with just the Doomguard in your hand, think of how amazing that would be, because Doomguard hits the board, doesn't cost you 2 cards, but he has charge. So he will be able to attack that turn if you are the one who sacks the Void Caller into something else.
Yeah.
You're going to have to only have the Doomguard in your hand to guarantee that that's the result. But,
I think that's kind of the key to this card, and why it has such, I think, a big downside is that you have to have demon cards in your hand. You have a little bit more control than the Mage Secrets because you can't activate your own secrets anymore, right? So that one has a huge downside. This one is a little bit more because you can kill your Void Caller, but I mean, if you don't have the demon you want to play in your hand and it dies on your opponent's turn, then all of a sudden you're just like, well, crap. There goes Jiraxis, and I just lost my whole strategy. Like, I think people are going to play with it, and I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm excited that demons might go the way of beasts and have some good synergy and be played in, like, you might actually see a demon deck, 'cause you don't see demon decks right now. No. So it could be interesting, but I think there's a lot of ifs tied to this card. Like, it's not really good just to play on turn 4.
Yeah. No, I agree. You're going to have to know that your hand fits what this guy does.
Yeah.
But, right now, this is kind of the theme of all of these cards that we're getting, is that they're maybe good, but they're not. None of these cards have come out and just been like, oh my god, this is overpowered. Like, this is going to completely change everything.
I find they're all quite situational.
Yeah. Which is I think what's going to happen with a lot of cards that get added to this game, because how fun is it to add a 6/5 vanilla card or something? We'll see that stuff. We'll see mana costs tied to vanilla cards with stats that we don't see yet. That'll eventually all be in there. But these cards are specific to these classes, and they have to do something kind of interesting. So it's got the Deathrattle. It's got the interesting effect. We'll see. I'm holding out hope. I'll try it.
So now that I feel like I've effectively kind of harshed your vibe on this card, saying that I think it's going to be a trap card and not actually perform.
My vibe was always harsh. Don't worry.
Since it has since it has a Deathrattle on it, I don't think we can end this conversation without bringing up like the dream scenario, which is having Baron Rivendare in your hand, or in this deck on the board when this guy triggers, and you just happen to have 2 awesome demons in your hand. That would be pretty ballin'.
That would be pretty cool. There's also some other stuff. I think Illidan's a demon, isn't he? Is Illidan a demon?
Oh my god,
that counts as one.
He
might make a comeback.
Let me Google that for you.
Thank you. Someone do, please. But there could be some interesting stuff
he
there.
He is indeed a demon.
Okay, so he costs 7 normally, and if you can get him onto the board for free, that's pretty special. So
7/5, and then you just start getting your 2/1 Flames of Azzinoth after that.
Yeah. It's going to be cool that there's just going to be a lot of theme decks floating around, and I like that. I like the idea that there's theme decks and not just these, completely net decked. This deck is good. It's the only good way to play this class. Like, there will be more ways to do all these classes now, and that's going to be healthy for the game.
I've like never seen Illidan played, and I'm just looking at him like right now, and I'm surprised I haven't seen this once just for fun in a zoo deck.
I have.
I got it in Arena last week. I was playing a druid, and I had Illidan played against me, and I got the hello brother thing, and I was like, oh my god, okay, this game can end now. I don't even care how it goes. I've had that experience once.
I got Warlords Alpha. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so did I. Just like literally like half an hour ago.
This is the first time I've been in before you, Dills. I'm so excited.
Well, I got I want to thank somebody at Blizzard who contacted me, but I didn't realize it was going to happen like right now. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, both Kyle and Ben from A-Move and and the Into the Nexus got in just after our show. So it looks like another wave of invites went out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
Awesome. The game's looking really nice, by the way. Just real quick, just delve in the WoW. The game's looking nice. It is unstable as all hell, but it's looking nice.
Yeah, I heard it's real alpha-ish.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I'm gonna mention the time I saw Illidan played against me was a token druid deck, and this guy destroyed me with Illidan. He played Illidan, then he innervated like twice or something. It was something crazy. But then he put on the Soul of the Forest thing, so all of his little 2/1s all had the Deathrattle, and I could never get rid of all of his crap ever.
Oh man, yeah, that's rough. So I'm thinking in my head, like, Illidan wouldn't be terrible in a zoo deck if it went late game, because you've got all these low cost minions you can play the same turn.
Yeah. It's it's an interesting card. It's never been good because it's 7 mana to get out, and then how many cards can I play?
6 mana.
Oh, sorry, 6 mana. Yeah, 6 mana to get out, and then how many cards can I play in that same turn?
Right. He's awkward. He's
exactly.
and yeah, all of these aggro decks lately have been about trimming the fat. I mean, all these decks have been boiled down to like the exact cards you need. Yeah, Illidan's cool, but it doesn't really play into it. So that's
But he's a demon, so let's see. That'll be interesting.
Demon decks coming to you soon in a Curse of Naxxramas near you.
Yep.
Also, just real quick, follow up to last week, guys. The Angry Chicken gets results.
Yep.
Rebirth has been renamed to
That's
the
right.
proper reincarnate because a shaman is not a druid.
Nope. Shaman cannot cast a spell called Rebirth. So yeah, this happened the day after we did the show last week too. Zariah posted it on Twitter, and I think Ben Brode was the one who tweeted out and said, "Yes, I name the cards. Sometimes I get confused because I name a lot of cards." So I accept his excuse.
Even Ben gets confused by shaman versus druid. So
yeah, his excuse is cool by me. I understand. You're working on a lot of stuff. You go, we'll put this new shaman card. What's a shaman spell? Rebirth, So, but maybe what they need is they need someone who just sits around and goes, fact checker. Wow, fact checker guy. The red shirt guy. They should get that guy.
But yeah, red shirt guy. Perfect job.
What's he up to?
That is not canon. That is canon. Get him a big stamp that says canon.
Yeah.
He
says, look, I know what's going on with Falstead. All right, so if you were wondering, I'm the guy.
Oh, that's wonderful. Speaking of Mr. Ben Brode, he put up a really nice look into his inner thinkings this past week, talking about his thoughts on the word on the word random. Because there's been a lot of talk lately about why the word random is omitted from cards that specifically have a random effect. We
talked about this on the show.
We did.
Times too.
We did. Yeah. Unfortunately, not when Ben was here. But some good stuff in here. I still don't agree with it, but some really good stuff. And I love looking at getting this look into the reasoning why they do certain things. So Ben basically said, I'm going to quote him here, said, I wanted to share a little bit of background on how and when we decided to write the word random in a card's description. He said, this is a strategy that we loosely use we loosely used when Hearthstone launched. They said that they add the word random when the game chooses randomly from the battlefield or your hand, which they consider visible zones. They do not use the word random when the game chooses randomly from the opposing hand or a deck, which they consider the hidden zone. Okay. I guess I can kind of get behind that. The game examples, Thoughtsteal doesn't use the word random, but it's fairly obvious how it works, whereas Alarmobot uses the word random because otherwise you might assume you could choose a target.
Sure.
So, and then he said that the rules can be broken, though, for example, and this is where I'm like, if you add the word random to Lightwell, it becomes very hard to parse its text. You'll learn that it's random after playing with it, and that's okay with us. At least it's better than long and confusing text. Feel is really important to how we write cards. Consistency is important, but somewhat less so in a digital game where the computer handles the rules for you. So, Yeah, doesn't change my belief that if it's random, it should just say random.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so.
So he's just explaining the thought process, but then he goes on to say, we've also decided to add random to all the stuff that you guys wanted us to add random to later on. So everybody got their way. Garrett, you got your way.
Okay.
Random is now going to be added to all these cards.
To literally every card that is a random effect.
All these new cards that say random that didn't have it are now going to say random.
It says right here, if we make cards that pull from hidden zones like Thoughtsteal, they'll continue to not have random in their text.
Yeah. So he's talking about that thing,
says...
but he broke the other rule that he said, which is
okay. So he's basically going back on that the rules can be broken, so that's all getting washed out.
So he's saying that the original rules they had, he's going to hold true to.
Okay.
And so the cards that choose from a random thing where you can see the random thing.
At least there's some inner consistency with that then. That I can get behind a little bit more.
He said, like, Thoughtsteal will still not have random in it. Thoughtsteal still doesn't have random because it's pulling from that other guy's deck, right?
Absolutely.
But, yeah. But he said, he basically said, you guys are worried about it. We decided it's not worth it to us to, like, hold on to this thing. If it's something you guys feel really important about, we'll change our stance on it. So to me, what I think is that this is a really good sign because, there is I like the discovery aspect of Hearthstone. I like figuring something out that wasn't obvious, and then putting that into your play as you go. So an experienced player has, there's value in having experience in the game. So I'm cool with that. But I like the fact that the devs are going to honestly come out and say, hey, we're going to change something because you guys want it to be changed.
Yeah.
And we're cool with it.
I think it's wonderful. They're listening to us.
It's really nice that they're such a small team that they can make little changes like this, and it's not a whole big deal. It's just like, oh, you guys want to see random? All right, here you go.
Yeah. And then the other thing, too, is he also made a really good point that because, Magic has to have really specific card text, right? It has to tell you exactly what's going to happen. Otherwise, you won't be able to perform the action that must happen because you have to do it manually.
And even you go to tournaments, there's still judges that you're just like, hey, what actually is happening here? Because I'm not sure who wins this engagement. Thank you.
It's so complex with so many mechanics and all that. So, and then sometimes I read a Magic card and I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do if I play this card. Like, I could read this, I could read this again, and I still wouldn't know.
I will make an admission here that I have been in Magic, like the pre-release tournaments I go to when a new set comes out, where I have purposely excluded a card from my deck just because there was just too much text to read and I just could not figure it out in the 45 minutes I had to build a deck. It's like, it's too much. It's 1 a.m. I don't care. I'm not playing you.
It's one of the things that Hearthstone doesn't have to deal with, which is the fact that the game just does it for you, right? Yeah. So even though you could argue that you should put all this really complex text on there so the player understands exactly what's going to happen when they play the card, you can get away with it with not having it because the game will do the thing that's supposed to happen. And maybe you go, what? I didn't realize that was supposed to happen. And then later you now understand what's going to happen. So it's a decision they made. And so he basically says it. He says, we decided to return to our old strategy, which was the first thing, the hidden zones and the visible zones. So Voidcaller, Avenge, Anub, Anubar, Ambusher, they'll all get the random on their text, which wasn't there before. But yeah, so it's a good sign. It's a really good sign from Blizzard that they're willing to compromise with the player base.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we obviously didn't, read the entire article verbatim. So if you want to read it in full, and I recommend you do, you can head on over to the official Hearthstone site. We will have the link in the show notes for you. It's a good read. And I hope we get to see more stuff like this from Team 5, where they're just like, hey, just so you know, this is how our brain works. It's really interesting. I love this kind of stuff. Yeah.
It is true, though, that it could feel very inconsistent to some people because, you've got something like he says visible and invisible zones or whatever it is. But then there's stuff like, Stampeding Kodo kills a random enemy with under 2. It says random, and it's visible. It's on the board, Yeah,
exactly. For me, I feel like because when they say that the game handles the rules for you, I feel like I can get behind that when it's things like, all right, I'm dragging my target reticule around the board with like a fireball, for example. and it's grayed out on the stealth guy. I realized before I cast that card, okay, I can't target him. Like that, I get that. But Thought Steal, it's not like I hovered on the board and a bunch of face-down cards come up, so I understand it. It's like random. I cast it and I just get cards, and I'm like, well, shit, I thought I could choose.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
Which, okay, we're 33 plus weeks into a show dedicated to this game. We are aware of the fact. We know how Thought Steal works. But for someone who's new to the game, and especially in the limited format of Arena, if you get in there and you're playing with these cards for the very first time, I'd like things to be spelt out as much as possible.
And I understand that. I just, to me, it wasn't a big deal because you learn things as you play, and experience matters because of that. So in the end, I was like, I'm not going to, like, if I'm going to pick and choose my battles, I'm going to pick naming a Shaman card Rebirth over putting random onto card text.
Right,
you know?
right. And
that's the thing that's going to anger me more.
And I think that the trivial nature of the discussion we're having right now speaks volumes about the quality of this game. That there's not something more important, like, hey, the game is still broken, there's floating minions, the shuffling happens, and I'm losing games because my Defender of Argus isn't buffing the right guy. Those aren't things we're having. We're not complaining about like game breaking bugs. We're just like talking about personal preference of how we think game rules should work.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to throw another little bit of little tidbit of news here that's not in there, but I think it was, I can't remember who it was. Somebody asked, it might have actually been Robert, who we had on Into the Nexus, asked Ben Brode why Sylvanas resolves before Cairn's Deathrattle, why that always happens. And he literally just came out and said, oh, that's not how that's supposed to work. And eventually we'll change it. So, fingers crossed. Eventually we're actually going to see Deathrattles resolve in the order they were played, which is how we were told it was supposed to work.
I also loved his follow up, and it was to Robert, our buddy. He was on Into the Nexus with us, and then his immediate follow up to him saying it was a bug. He goes, "I should have said, quote, we are looking into it, unquote. Not supposed to promise anything for bug fixes in patches just in case, smiley face." Like,
well, he literally said the Nax patch. That's, I think, where he really had to backtrack on that, because that may or may not happen.
And then, like, I love the just wall of stuff under, like, Young Will, what have you done?
Yeah. But, I mean, it's it's going to be a brave new world when I have to remember what order all the cards were played in. Oh, man. Like right now, it's like, no, you never lose your Bane when you play Cairn and he dies and Sylvanas is on the board and also dies. You don't lose Bane. In the future, I'm gonna have to go, wait a minute, who played the card first? And when there's gonna be all these Deathrattle cards, oh my god,
I like that though. It's an extra level of complexity I welcome with open arms.
No, it's gonna be good. I mean, there's a lot of things that are supposed to happen based on the order things were played, and they're not always happening that way. So I would like it to just be a hard and fast rule. That's how it works.
You heard it here first. Dills likes it hard and fast.
I like it hard and fast. With my rules. I like my rules hard and fast.
Not his Cheerios. That's what I'm talking about. Like cereal, right? I don't know what you guys are thinking. I don't know why everyone's laughing so hard. And why
wine over here. And
my chat room is staring at me like I committed a crime. Don't judge me. Anyways.
Totally judging
Jocelyn
you.
knows. Jocelyn agrees with me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Careful what you're
Oh my gosh,
Jocelyn.
she shook her head. Damn it.
All right. Well, again, go check out Ben's thoughts in full over on the official Hearthstone site. We're going to get into strategies and get a little deeper into Arena.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
I'm still trying not to laugh after our ending of news. Arena drafting. There's so much that can be said about it. And we've touched on it here and there in past episodes. But Dills, you really want to dig in. You want to get a big ass shovel and you want to dig a deep hole into the subject of arena drafting.
Well, we've been talking a lot about constructed recently on the show, and all of the strategy sections have been kind of constructed based. And I know there's a lot of people. I would say like the EPing is larger in the constructed world right now, and a lot more people are basing who is good or bad on how they do in constructed. Are you legend ranked or not?
Which was funny when you think about and Jocelyn, you remember this too. When you think back to the beta, it was the complete at least when the beta first came out, it was the complete opposite.
Absolutely.
Because
was like, oh my God, you don't have 12 wins in Arena, or I guess 9 at the time?
Yeah, right.
Don't even talk to me.
Exactly.
Who's playing Constructed?
Oh, look at this scrub. I'm Grandmasters and ranked. Yeah, but who cares? You just played like 50 games. Like,
it was, the thing was at the time, everyone was trying to accrue cards, and there was not a lot of tournaments. So that was kind of the thing and also the ladder was pretty bad.
It was it was non-existent, more or less.
Yeah.
It was the rank system.
Yeah, the rank system didn't really benefit the way people thought about Constructed.
Yeah, then the current rank system came in and just kicked the doors down, just like, you will care about me now. I am the EP from which everyone will be judged.
Also, yeah, if you get to Legend now, that's not even good enough. Now, what rank Legend are you? Oh, you're not top 16?
I was just about to say, Blizzard didn't help it by saying, hey, if you're top 16, you get a chance at $100,000. Sorry, at 250,000. I mean, 100,000 to the first place. But if you're a top 16 at the end, you get something.
So how close are you, Dills?
Oh, I'm not close at all. I've been playing nothing but Arena. For like the last month and a half now, I've been like just no Constructed at all, really.
So you're
Except for figuring out what I'm going to talk about in strategy.
So you're really only here talking Arena because you're hoping that you make it sound so important that Blizzard says, okay, if you do well enough in Arena, we'll give you an invite to the World Championship.
I would like some sort of ranking that goes on in Arena. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. I understand that there's already a lot of rewards tied to Arena, so it's not something that they need to do. But I don't know. To some of us, we really enjoy the style of Arena play. We enjoy the randomness. We enjoy not knowing what is going to happen at any moment. And how many friggin' this card does he have? It's like you just get Flame Strike after Flame Strike, and you play a Shaman who has 6 fire elementals and all that kind of stuff. It can be really frustrating, but it's also just really interesting to me. So, and there's more people like that out there. And I just figured it was time to kind of get back into Arena play in our strategy section. And also doing the article for Hearthhead, I was like, well, I could talk about a deck, or I could talk about what most people know me as, which is an Arena player at this point. So I figured I'd start there. That's probably a good place for me to start. So I just want to talk right now about not necessarily like the ins and outs of every card in Arena. I'm not going to go in and make some, eventually I probably will, but I'm not going to go in and make some list of this card is better than this card. Like there's a lot of people who've already kind of done that. So there's resources out there. But I want to talk about is the kind of the art form to Arena drafting rather than the science, because the science is like obvious. The science is this card is better than this card. Yeti is better than Loot Hoarder pretty much all the time, right?
Yeah.
However, sometimes that's not the case, and that's what makes it really interesting when you're drafting Arena. So I'm curious to know though, like, are you guys playing much Arena these days? Jocelyn, are you ever rocking Arena?
Definitely more Arena than Constructed. I don't have a whole lot of gold now though. I've been doing better though. I got up to 8 wins, I think.
Oh, nice.
Which is the best I've ever done. So
that's solid. Yeah.
Getting there.
You still like don't have a lot of cards, so like it's a good idea to be doing a lot of Arena.
You're the closest thing we have to a consistent free-to-play player on the show.
That's true. I spent my original $50 and I haven't spent any more since then, I don't think. No, that's a lie. I did it twice because I had to play Dills and I was like, damn it. Dills has all the cards. I need more cards.
Yeah, I bought the 40 packs twice. I've been like real tempted to do it a third time because it's like I was like, I really want Cenarius and a couple other legendaries and I don't have them. I haven't been playing
like months and months and months now. We're like pushing a year. You can spend more money.
That's true. How
justifiable?
Yeah.
I have not been playing a lot of Arena.
Yeah.
Lately.
You were kind of getting back into it a little while ago.
I was when I was hitting that wall. When I hit the wall and ladder, like where I can't go up anymore, and I don't feel like playing Miracle Rogue. That's when I go back to Arena, and I'm oh my god, I'm having so much trouble. This has been the worst week of Hearthstone I have had since I first got the game. I've lost so many games.
Well, right now the meta in Constructed is incredibly fast. It's weird because it was, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. It was like all handlock, just like every time I was playing handlock and I was playing against other handlocks, almost every game. And it was crazy.
Ooh, it
and that
sounds
was
like fun.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Those matchups are very strange because with handlock you can always lose at any given moment against another handlock, or you can always get the perfect little draw and just get the big combo off. So some interesting games there. But right now you really need to be playing some aggro or some anti-aggro. You can't really get away with these kind of big control late game decks because you're just gonna be dead by the time you get to like turn 5.
Yeah.
So. That makes it tough. That's the most frustrating part of the meta to play for me. I kind of sit out and wait for the aggro to go away, and then I'll just dip my toe back in.
Yeah, I'll tell you honestly, the deck. We're getting so off topic, but real quick, the deck I've been having the most fun with in ladder at the moment is actually Amaz's Priest deck.
Oh yeah,
and it surprised the hell out of me. I'm just like, this is just fun. I don't care if it's not consistent. It's fun.
There's a lot of interesting plays that can be made with that deck.
Yeah.
So you got the Circle of Healing Akonai. You've got you got the Wild Pyromancer plays that you can make sometimes, and of course then you copy their cards and you see what the hell that means.
Exactly. Also, Young Woo has just polluted my mind with all of this priest love. So, thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good job.
But nonetheless, I feel like I would play a lot more Arena if they add a tool so that we can do proper Arena tournaments.
Yeah, I think that's kind of missing, and I'd like to see that added. Reynad and Tempo Storm did a really cool thing with the Lord of the Arena tournament, which if you watched was really interesting because it was also really quick. It was just kind of you play one game and then there was a losers bracket, so you moved down into that and then just went into the end, and basically whoever got mage and got a good deck won. But it was a really interesting tournament to watch, and I would like to see. The problem with that tournament was it wasn't a true arena tournament because they had to stop picking at 2 of a card, which is a limitation you do not have in arena. So it'd be cool if you could see some sort of draft arena style tournament that was in the game and allow you to have, 5 fireballs or something like that. So
exactly.
We'll see if that ever happens. I'm just going to talk real quickly though about, and you guys can read the article. I'm going to kind of just go over some of the points real quick, but the article is basically about how your drafting process has to be kind of living and breathing. You have to be willing to change your value, the value you're giving to cards, the deeper you get into the draft and based on what you've already drafted. And that also means that some cards that could have a lot of value when you get to turn, pick 25 is going to be a card you would never pick on turn 1. Something like maybe Faceless Manipulator. It's a card you're probably not going to want on turn 1. Is usually going to be a better epic in there to pick because you don't know if you're going to have a good card to Faceless Manipulator on. So there's a lot of things that kind of happen throughout the 30 picks. And one of the things that you need to remember with Arena is that nothing in Arena drafting or play is like black and white, right or wrong. You can trade or you could go to the face. There's never going to be like that was always right in every situation. Because again, you don't know exactly what's in the other guy's deck. Whereas in Constructed, I know against this certain deck that he definitely has a swipe, or he definitely is going to buff his creatures. It's Zoo. Like I better clean all the creatures off the board. That's not how it's going to work in Arena. You don't know what the hell the guy's got.
It can work in a complete opposite way though, because you can see their second hex and you're like, okay, I'm in the clear. Oh wait, here's hex number 3 and hex number 4 and oh my god, hex number 5.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying there's never a right or wrong because you play around cards you don't play around in Constructed, and you don't play around cards that you do play around in Constructed. It's just all completely turned around. So don't go into it thinking really rigidly like I need to always do this. Always clear the board for this class. Always always go to the face with this guy. You can't think that way. You have to be willing to adapt game by game and pick by pick. So, I mean, I've picked decks that I was like, this is terrible. I got nothing good in this deck. 12 wins, And I've also had decks where I'm like, oh my God, I have 4 Flame Strikes and 3 Fireballs and a Pyroblast. And then I'm like, I'm on win 3 and I'm losing horribly and I'm it's just you never know what's going to happen. So when you play as much Arena as I do, you learn pretty quickly that there just isn't a right and wrong in every situation. Now there are some rules you should kind of adhere to, so I'll go over some of those. Like 2 drops, it's really important in Arena. You want to have at least 4 or 5 of those, and 3 2s in Arena are better than 2 3s because A lot of times you need to trade up, and a 2/3 will not be able to trade up.
Yeah, we're talking about attack versus health, not the amount of 2 and 3 drops. By the way.
No. Yeah. Sorry, 3/2s like a Knife Juggler or an Amani Berserker. Like a Knife Juggler will be able to trade with a Raging Worgen, whereas an Amani Berserker is just going to die and the Worgen will live. Stuff like that. Now, that's not, again, there's no hard and fast rule, because if you're playing a Mage, an Amani Berserker is definitely better than a Knife Juggler because you can ping it and rage it.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be some kind of exceptions to the rule. There's certain cards that you don't see a lot of in Constructed that you do see a lot of in Arena because they have more value in Arena in a slower game. Loot Hoarder, Azure Drake, Gnomish Inventor, they cycle. They're great. They put a body on the board. They also cycle. But then like cards like Cult Master, you never see it in Constructed. I would love somebody to make this thing Constructed. I tried. Didn't work. But that's a card that can draw you a lot of cards in Arena. So you're going to see that card a lot. And so you're not going to see that in Constructed ever. And it's a card advantage is a big deal in Arena. And it's one of the, like, when you look at your mechanics of an Arena deck, if you don't have that, that's the thing that should make you worried. You don't have Taunt, you don't have Silence, whatever. But if you don't have card draw, you should definitely be concerned. So what I do, and I'll just kind of like gloss over some of this stuff here, really, because you should go read the article. I generally break the draft in 3 parts. There's the first 10 picks, the middle 10, and the last 10. And it's not necessarily the first 10 exactly, but it's just an easier way to think of it. Sometimes on pick 9, I'll be thinking more in terms of 11 through 20, but you basically just break it up into that. And in the first 10 picks, you're just kind of, what's the best card out of the 3? All other things aside, what are the most stats I'm going to get compared to the mana cost of this card? And that's really how you evaluate cards in the first 10
Yeah, you're
picks.
looking for your Yetis,
Yeah, your Yetis, your Ogres.
Well-costed value cards.
And then your Silverhand Knights, you want the big stats for the mana cost.
Yeah, and then what do you do? Because like, for me, I get past that first batch of the 10, as you're calling it, and then I immediately look at my curve. It's like, okay, what am I missing?
Yeah. By the way, I want to point out, someone's talking about Wisp. Wisp is the best stats for the money you can ever get. So, no, I'm just kidding. Don't ever pick Wisp.
Wisp is one of those cards where its rating, if we were to assign ratings to all these cards, would not be any different between Constructed and Arena. It's terrible in both.
It's just terrible.
Don't pick Wisp.
0 mana cost, but whatever. So anyway, yeah. So then what I do is I generally, after the first 10 picks, you definitely start to value the curve. It's not like the end-all be-all yet, but you definitely start to, like, let's say I have no 2-drops after 10 picks. I'm going to start to value 2-drops pretty high at that point. Also, mechanics like card draw suddenly are going to become very important. If I don't have any way to draw cards yet, and Acolyte of Pain pops up, I'm going to probably pick that, You have to really kind of start to evaluate what you have at that point and start to think about the picks in a different way. So a Yeti might not be the best pick, even though generally it's always the best pick early on. You got to really start thinking about that. But it's not just that, too. At this point, you kind of have an idea of what kind of deck you have. You've started to kind of see it shape. So you can either like move further in that direction here, or you can kind of like veer off and try to make it more well-rounded. But like, let's say you have a ton of 2-drops. And you might go, hey, I'm just going to make an aggro deck right now. You can do that kind of stuff in Arena, too. It's not always going to work out for you, but you can start to do that.
Yeah, one of the things I see with that a lot, too, Jocelyn, I'm curious if you have anything like this with when you're making Arena decks, too. Is like I pick Shaman a lot. So like when you're up to like 25 cards out of your 30 for your deck, it's time, and like you said, Dills, you're trying to figure out what kind of deck you have. So like when I pick Shaman, if I look through, on card 26, an unbound elemental pops up. It's like, okay, well, let's see how much overload I actually have, if this is even worth getting. And it's like, oh, I got 3 or 4 overload cards. Yeah, I'll take it. But you get into things. Those kind of scenarios exist throughout all the classes.
Yeah. No, and not just with that, but with like mana costs. Paladins have a lot of class-specific 4-drops. Shamans have a lot of class-specific 3-drops. So, like a Yeti is not as good in Paladin because you probably want to save your 4 spot for a lot of true silver champions. Your harvest golems are not as good in shaman because you want to put a lot of doggies and unbound elementals and all that kind of stuff there, right? So it's you got to think about your class as well, and that's why again, like there's no science to this.
Jocelyn,
And Jocelyn,
who do you play the most in Arena?
you like your hunters.
I do.
Hunter, right?
I like my
Okay.
hunters. I go pretty much between hunter and mage. I like to play something I'm really familiar and comfortable with because I know I'm going to go up against things I am not comfortable with. And I lose to warriors in arena all the time because I have no idea what their cards are. Warriors and rogues. I'm just like, I don't even know. You guys are just jerks.
Good thing is you don't see a lot of warriors in arena, but you do see a lot of rogues, so watch out for that.
Pretty much everything that I play is just, well, I like playing Hunter in Arena because everything just goes so well, like neutral cards, Hunter cards, like all the beast stuff. Like it's just really easy to randomly get a good deck, I find anyways.
It's well, that's another thing though about Hunter is early on you might get something like a Starving Buzzard, but I don't have any beasts yet. And you gotta start thinking like, well, am I gonna get beasts? Probably, but I don't know. Maybe not.
You'll get beasts. There's so many beasts that are hunter specific, and then so many beasts that are neutral. No way in hell you're not gonna get some
so many
beasts.
of them are terrible. Like you're stuck picking the stupid monkey, the 1/4 taunt, because like I just want a beast.
But even then, even if you get into a situation where you're faced against these crappy cards, because I've had that happen in every single arena run I've ever done, there's 2 or 3 times where you get 3 cards and you're just like, damn it, I don't want any of this. Nope. At least you have the beast mechanic to fall back on in a hunter that you don't have with most other classes.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, that if there's at least something about that card that's redeeming within the deck you're playing, it could have terrible stats and it's fine.
And in defense of the Silverback Patriarch Dills, I have had that card do work, paired with a Houndmaster in a Hunter Arena deck where it was really my only choice. But it still works.
But it's a beast, so it's still
people
works.
underestimate it, man. The Silverback Patriarch comes out, they just ignore it, and they're like, I'll just leave it. Next turn, Houndmaster, like crap.
Yeah,
that's a lot of.
I mean,
that's a lot of help.
That's another thing though too. It's a trap a lot of people fall into is taking stuff like a Buzzard early, or even a Houndmaster before you have any beasts in your hand, or in your deck. And sometimes you just don't get those, especially within the first 10 picks. I would forego a card like that for a card with bigger stats because that's going to be a bigger threat on its own. And that's another point that I make in this article. Is you really want to pick cards that are good by themselves. If I have nothing on the board and no card in my hand that synergizes with this card, it's still good. That's why, like, Boulder Fist Ogre is so good. You play it by itself, it's a good card. It's a big ass card. Can't silence it. It's stuff. Yeah, it's just it's just good no matter what the situation is. If I top deck it at the end of the game and I play it, it's amazing. You want cards like that in Arena because those cards are going to make you a more consistent player. And yeah, sometimes you'll play Rogue or something, and you'll just get like all this aggro stuff, and you'll just run over people. You have like 5 eviscerates in your deck, but that's not always going to be the case. So it's much better to just kind of know that I've got threats all up and down my deck, and I've got a good curve. I can reliably mulligan early, and I can get 2 drops. All that stuff is going to make you win more often, more of the time. So. It's one of those things a lot of people don't really. It seems obvious when you play as much Arena as I do that this is a good card, but sometimes people look at something like, especially when you first start playing, you look at a Yeti and you go, boring. But the reason why it's been, so good now is because Trump came out and was like, dude, Yeti is good, you guys, and everybody was like, oh yeah, you're right, it is good, because there was a time nobody thought it was that good. Well, people who knew card games knew it was
it's just value.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's if you don't play a lot of card games, you come into this game dry, you're gonna look at that card, it doesn't say anything. This card sucks.
One more thing.
Where's all the bonuses? Where's my text?
It doesn't battle cry.
I can't even complain about the word random not being on this card because there are no words on it.
I was gonna say it doesn't even have the word random, guys.
Here's how you fix that, Ben Brode. You get the Yeti and you say, Yeti, 4 mana, randomly play a 4/5.
Just to troll people. Next April Fool's Day, they should implement that just for the week. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
One more. You made me think of it when you were saying, Boulderfist Ogre, whether you top deck it or whether you just play it, it's always good. One tip I just want to rip off directly from one of my favorite Magic podcasts, Limited Resources. Mm-hmm. One of the things they talk about, it's all about limited in Magic, which is analogous to Arena in Hearthstone, if you're not familiar. They said things you should be thinking about when you're thinking about putting a card into your deck. It's like, is this card good when I'm behind? Is this card good when I'm at parity, which means when we're both, me and my opponent are more or less equal? And is this card good when I'm ahead? And the answer is yes to all three of those things. There's almost no reason you shouldn't be playing that card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why like something like a Bloodlust is considered not the best card, even though in some situations it's amazing. Sometimes you win a game you weren't supposed to win.
That's a perfect example, because Bloodlust is only good when you're ahead.
Yeah. Well, not only good.
Yeah, okay. You're right. Sorry. It is
most better when.
Ahead,
you're right.
And most of the time when you're behind, it's terrible,
Exactly. So if I could add a fourth caveat to that, is this card good when I have nothing on the board? In which Bloodlust is, oh, wow, this is the deadest of dead cards.
Mm-hmm. There's no way you can play this card.
Yeah, sorry, I do apologize. It is not only good when you're ahead.
But in most cases it is, and you can apply the most cases to all this stuff too, and that's fine to add that addendum in when you're saying those things, because that's a really good way to put it. A true silver champion, ahead, behind, parity, always going to be good. A Yeti, always going to be good, no matter what. You're putting a body out on the board. It's just a good card. So I'm going to talk about like the final 10 picks, because you've gone through those first 20 picks. At this point, you really have an idea of what you're missing, what's good about your deck, what's bad about your deck, and at this point, you are kind of in like panic mode. It's not really panicking, but it's just like if you don't have a certain thing that's really important, like 2-drops, like card draw, like silence. I think silence is a bigger deal than taunt. I think taunt is, if you can control the board, you never need taunt. But obviously it's still good. It's just certain taunt cards are good. But this is the part of the draft where if you don't have those cards, that becomes the most important thing. Every time you see it, like I have no 2-drops. Okay, here we go. I've got the next pick comes up, and it's a Juggalo versus an insane, awesome, rare class card that I really wanted to have. I'm sorry, you don't get to have it. You got to take that 3/2 for 2. You just need to do it. So there's like, this is the part of the arena drafting stage where you're just like, you got to make the tough choices. You got to say, I really like this card, but I can't have it because I'm missing this mechanic, and I need to fill that. Hole. Another thing too is in arena, obviously you can have a lot of a card. So I'm going to put this out there. If you're not sure if I should have a lot of this card, just imagine having 2 in your hand, and would that be a good thing or a bad thing? And like the example I used in the article was True Silver Champion. If I have 2 True Silver Champions in my hand, that's totally fine. Those are 2 amazing weapons. They cost 4. I get to use it twice. It heals me, every time I use it. It generally kills whatever I hit with it. But let's say I have 2 Assassin's Blades in my hand at the same time. That has 4 durability on it. I'm going to have to swing 4 times before I can play another one. Or I could play the other one if I wanted to, but that would be a terrible waste. And it costs 5 mana to play it, just the one time. So it's much slower to get out.
Hey, it triggers your combo, man. If you got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm playing jerk off devil's advocate. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just one of those cards that if I had 2 of them in my hand, it wouldn't be a good thing. One of them is great, but 2 is not good. So every time you're looking at a card and you're wondering like, okay, I already have 2 of these. Should I get a third one? Just kind of like go through that kind of test in your mind and see if you think it would be good to have more than 1 in your hand. Because a lot of times when you have 3 of a card, you end up with 2 in your hand at some point. It just happens during an arena run. And then the last thing I would say is that synergy is amazing when it happens. It's not always going to happen. So avoid picking the first part of a sweet combo before you have the second part of the sweet combo. That, it's like maybe you can do that and get away with it sometimes, but sometimes you're going to pick it and then you're never going to get the other part, and then you got a crappy card. So, like I said earlier, big threats that stand alone. That's what you're going to want. And then go ahead and go over to hearthhead.com and read more about it. And watch people play. Watch people play and watch people draft. Watch like Crip will draft arena decks nobody else will draft because he's played so much arena at this point that he understands what's actually done good for him and what's done bad. And it's not a science. It's an art form. There you go.
Awesome. And again, go check out Dills' article on arena drafting over on Hearthhead right now.
Right now. It is there right now.
It is. You can see it. This isn't one of those, well, if you're watching live, the show notes aren't technically on a move yet because they go up when the show is posted and this is being recorded live. But no, it's right now. Go.
Yeah.
Watch.
In fact, turn off this podcast.
No, don't do that. It's words with no audio, so you can keep giving us those precious viewer numbers and read the article. So, anyways, it's time for a crazy game story or two.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
Welcome to Crazy Game Stories. You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Jocelyn, you've been gone for a while, and you've been sick, which you can only assume means you played a lot of Hearthstone. Do you have any stories? Anything crazy happen?
I bought an iPad, too.
Oh! Oh, yes! A shiny new iPad.
Yep, so I have a shiny new iPad that I was playing in bed with because I was just so not moving, not doing anything.
I thought you were going to say your crazy game story
well.
was I was having a really intense game of Hearthstone and then I dropped it in the toilet.
No, okay, that is a dude thing. That is not a girl thing. We
Really?
did not spend enough time in there to justify having anything to read or anything to play. It's in and out. Boom, done.
Crazy game stories just turned into crazy bowel movement stories. Wonderful. Absolutely great.
Yeah, no, my craziest was just the whole Illidan Malfurion thing that happened to me. That's never actually happened to me in game before. That was very exciting. But no, other than that, I've had some pretty standard, like, I find my games are going really, 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 really long, and I don't know why. Although I've been playing a lot of Arena, but it's just like longest games ever, like 40 minutes sometimes, and I'm just like dying to fatigue and like just crazy, crazy stuff.
I think you were dying of like abusing whatever med you were on. I don't think a game can go 40 minutes.
It can.
Sure it
I've
can.
seen tournament games that have gone that long.
Oh,
But here's how you cure that, Jocelyn. Just go face all day. Ignore the board. Face.
There's so many people picking taunt now. I'm just always like, another one? Did you just pick everything that came up with taunt?
I definitely know that there are people who do that. I remember when I first got the game, like very first arena run I did, and I know because this exists in my VODs on my stream. I went back and watched it at some point, and it was like, ooh, that has taunt. Yeah. Oh, that was taunt. Yeah.
Noob Dills.
One of the first.
Didn't know any better.
One of the first decks I wanted to build when I got into Hearthstone was a sword and board warrior, where it was nothing but weapons and taunters.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted, and it doesn't work. It's terrible.
Are you sure? Have you tried it lately?
Doesn't work.
You know, it might actually work.
I just want to incite the Garrett rage.
With all of the ridiculous aggro decks I'm seeing, I might win a few games with it, but again, I think it would be a trap, much like the Void Caller is going to be. It's like, I won a few games, I'm going to keep playing it. And if I actually looked at my stacks, it'd be like I'm actually at like a 20% win streak.
Well, the ramp druid is kind of like an all taunting deck, and it worked for a while, and then eventually it stopped working. So
right, that was a hot. I feel like that was a flash in the pan as far as decks are
yeah,
concerned.
it lasted for like a week after Gar won DreamHack, and then
right, exactly. That was just like poof, gone, bye. And so we have stuff like that in other games. You see strategies in StarCraft disappear real fast after they're figured out.
Some people are still playing it, but they've altered it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's not what it once was.
Anyways, today's fan submitted crazy game story comes to us from Scott, who wants to talk about some ice blocking fail. He also said science. He said, I was playing a priest as a mage in arena, and near the beginning of the game, the priest he was playing against used mind vision. And he said, while I had nothing but an ice block in my hand. So he got Ice Block. We both played our Ice Blocks over the next couple plays, knowing good and well what each other's secrets were. Eventually, we each got into a top-decking situation where every card that was played was easily countered by what the other would top deck.
Love that.
He goes on to say, a few turns after we had emptied our decks and been suffering fatigue damage, he had a Gurabashi Berserker at 22 attack, 5 health.
Holy crap. Oh, it's a priest. Okay. I was about to say, like, how does that happen?
A priest.
He healed it like every turn.
An Ice Block secret in play, a relatively high amount of health, and no cards in hand. And suffering fatigue damage. Reminder. He said, I had an empty board, Ice Block secret in play, 20 health, and the last card of my deck in my hand, a second Ice Block. Okay, you piqued my interest, Mr. Scott. To finish this up, he says his turn starts and he takes an excessive amount of fatigue damage. He then hits my face for 22. This doesn't drop me a point below my current 20 because my first Ice Block is activated. On my turn, I take a huge amount of fatigue damage and play my second Ice Block. His turn comes, and he takes an even larger amount of fatigue damage and hits my face for 22, activating my second Ice Block. My turn hits, and fatigue damage brings me to 1 health. I pass the turn with a well played, knowing his Ice Block will prevent him from dying to fatigue damage, which it doesn't! Type that in all caps, that's why I yelled. Fatigue damage caused lethal damage, and his Ice Block didn't trigger, giving me the win. This has to be a bug, right? Thanks.
Okay. A couple things about this, though. I have heard from somebody that there's a certain amount of fatigue damage where the game goes, all right, that's enough. You're dead. Like, no matter what. So, I'm not going to say for sure right now that fatigue damage never procs Ice Block. Because I can't say that for sure. It may have been. I didn't see this game, obviously. I'm just hearing about it. That whatever that... Because he's talking about how there is some incredibly large amounts of fatigue damage. There is some certain amount that it gets to where you just die.
Okay.
So that could be what happened. I don't know.
My first reaction when reading this email or reading this story, without having Hearthstone cards in front of me to look at, was Ice Block probably says something like attack, and this isn't being attacked, but it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. You're right.
It just says quote.
You can't trigger your own secrets on your own turn.
Oh,
well, there you go. Yeah, it's his turn.
It's his turn, so his secret doesn't go off. There you go.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go. It's not even
Good
that
job,
sciencey. It's a
good
thing
job,
that was,
Jocelyn.
I solved the science.
Right. Science.
Yeah.
Secret on his own turn.
Exactly. There you go. So I didn't even need to go this far. Okay.
Nope.
So my brain.
Why
is
did you
just
speak
dumb.
up earlier, Jocelyn?
Sorry.
Come on.
She's like, I want to watch Garrett and Dills talk like they're all smart and shit, and then I'm gonna be like, hey,
I'm just gonna boom.
Hey guys.
Knowledge bomb. That's See, it's funny. Like that little secret on your own turn thing. It's like the most forgotten about thing sometimes. Like sometimes I just completely forget that doesn't work. It's I don't know. Like all the other stuff I remember. And that one thing, just still, to this day, I'm like, oh, crap, it doesn't proc on my own turn. Like,
yep. Well, it used to.
Gets
was
me.
part of the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one.
Anyways, thank you very much for that story there, Scott. It was wonderful. It's time for some emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Welcome to emails, just like Crazy Game Stories. Send on the tacpodcast@gmail.com. And chat room, start posting some questions now. We'll take some chat room questions at the end of the show. Our first email today comes to us from Jeff, who writes, "Hello, roosters and hen. My question first." Okay, and then I have something else.
So there's some more stuff after.
Not my first question. My question first. Do you all feel there should be a better incentive for climbing the ladder in constructed play? My thought for an incentive was receiving dust based on your end of season rank. I imagine a bell curve of sorts because those players in higher ranks most likely don't need much dust, perhaps 50 dust per rank beginning at 15, peaking at 300 dust for rank 10, then 50 less dust per rank beyond that. I feel as though I don't have the dust to craft the better decks, but climbing the ladder doesn't grant me the dust I need, so it's a vicious cycle. Also, climbing past rank 20 gets me the card back, and starting a few ranks higher than 25 isn't enough to keep me climbing. Love the show. Mouse Divided, who we said his real name Jeff because we failed. He also said, P.S. Before Dill says play Arena, I hate Arena. My best runs are 9 wins once and 5 wins twice. Again, all the caps on that. What is that?
Emergency alert.
Dill's.
Oh no.
Oakland is rioting again.
Probably.
And it's spilling into
It's
SF.
Oakland.
It's just spilling over. Like, run SF, the Oakland are rioting
"Wait,
again.
Our team is the Raiders? Riot! Well, before I say play Arena, you hate Arena. Got it. Still, play Arena.
I have a much better counter argument to that.
Yeah?
To the Arena argument?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you know,
What's your argument?
It's better than Dill's answer of playing Arena. There's $250,000 up for grab if you get to rank 16.
Quite a lot
That
of
is
incentive
true.
to climb the
But
ladder,
then
right?
I think that really what he's going for here is saying, like, okay, Dills can't even get up to 16. So
Hey,
feel like
could. I'm just not
could you?
trying.
Okay, then do it.
right.
So I think that there's just like
Okay.
that's really, really, really high goal, especially for someone who said like they don't have the dust to craft better decks. I like Arena, so I've kind of lucked out. So I've been going over there to get my dust, and I think that they could implement something along with the 3-win rule where you get that little bit of gold. If you got like 10 dust, 15 dust, something just to give you a little bit more incentive, because I find that that's definitely what I'm missing is the dust piece. It's really hard if you don't play Arena to get dust, unless you're using, I guess if you're using your gold to buy packs, you can dust the stuff you don't need, but there's a fine line there. You don't get a lot of dust as a strictly constructed player.
I mean, here's the thing: is from Blizzard's perspective, you're getting gold for 3 wins. Eventually, you buy a pack. You can use that to get the dust. We're giving you dust for constructed play. That's what they're. I mean, they designed that model, and you earn dust, albeit at a slower rate than you like, but. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, it's like you're never gonna just get the thing you want because you want it. It's just you got to do the thing that gets you the thing you want. And it's like, I really want a lot of purples in WoW, but
Wait, just stop right there, Bills.
I hate raiding.
This is
sorry.
This is my reaction. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. I mean, it's the truth. It's just it's the sad truth, but it's the truth. Like, it's that if you were Blizzard right now and you hear this, you're like, we are giving you incentive to climb ladder and construct it. So, I mean, I hate to say it, I'm giving you the tough love here, Jeff, but Blizzard does not feel like they're not incentivizing constructed. In fact, I would argue that they're not incentivizing Arena outside of things like dust. So, and to them, they're going to want you to buy some packs. That's how they make money. So if they just start giving away all the cards, like, for not very much work, then, is that a good model for a business? Nah, not really. So, you probably don't like my answer, but that is the answer.
I disagree with your tough love. I believe tough love is required here, but I think you focused it in the wrong direction.
Okay. I shouldn't focus
Are you
it on...
about to go all Garrett Rage on me
No,
or something?
no, not at all. No. Jocelyn, it's your fault.
Well, you're saying he's focusing it in the wrong direction.
No.
I'm the only other direction.
I see it. I also see a tough love response to Jeff's email. At the very end where he says, I hate Arena, and then he gives what I assume is the reason for. He says his best runs are 9 wins once and 5 wins twice. And my tough love answer is you can get better at Arena. There's literally nothing stopping you. You are on the cool thing about Arena is that you are on a pseudo level playing field. Yes, you can go up with someone who got way more lucky in his card draw than you.
But you can get more lucky than the other guy.
Right. You are not. That guy didn't spend $100 and just happened to get 2 legendaries in his 30 cards. He spent 100.
That's a good point.
He spent exactly as much as you did, and you can. You can study up on Arena. You can learn some card read some card evaluations, you can read Tills' article.
I was going to say, go to Wowhead.
I wasn't going to. That would have felt like a cheap plug right there. Yeah, like now if you straight up don't like it, that's one thing. If you don't like it because you're not winning, you can win. You can learn it and get better.
Yeah, I think I would like to see an award for your rank in constructed. We've said this on the show, so I don't think that's a bad idea to want some sort of reward for whatever rank you got to, more than just bonus stars the next season.
I was gonna say, you get bonus stars. That's your reward.
But yeah, so now that's what you get. But we've talked about like some sort of like at the end of the season you get some chests to open and stuff comes out of it, and how that would be awesome. Not holding my breath for it though.
To now agree with him. I feel like the bonus stars are more of a courtesy to less skilled players than it is a reward to me.
Well, it's what it is. It's a courtesy to the guys who got to legend, really, because they don't have to grind so freaking far to get back to legend. That's
but
it really
if you're that good, is it that
people out of the really low ranks?
That's
like
my point.
Out of that 25 to 20 range, and I think I got to rank 10 or so in one season, and then I started off at rank 20 in the next.
Yeah,
and I was just
it's
like,
less of a
this is
reward,
nice.
more of a way to keep them separated, so like don't always have to play each other, because it's not that fun to be a legend ranked player and just like destroy people for 15 games in a row, killing their spirits while you just are grinding and not even like having fun playing the game. And it's not that fun for the other player to just get destroyed by some guy who's clearly been playing a lot more and spent more money, and that's just frustrating for both parties. So that's really what that's about. I wouldn't mind seeing a reward, but again, I'm not holding my breath for it. And currently, just kind of have to work with what's there, and that is Arena right now. So,
yep.
I hope you can find the love for it that I have found, Jeff.
Yeah. The game is surprisingly synergistic in the way that you can, if you want to play it free to play and not spend a lot of money, you can play constructed, get some gold, buy an arena, get some new cards, and you can keep that cycle going. There's not as much to it as, say, something like World of Warcraft, where you have a game full of all kinds of options, and you can completely ignore whole sections of this game and never run out of things to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard if you don't want to spend a lot of money to not play Arena, I feel like. Yeah.
You're missing out on half of the game almost in that case, right. I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, I hope you helped you there, Jeff. That's really good email.
It's really great. It sparked a lot of conversation.
And to just cut all the intelligent discussion. Yeah, I really would love to get some freaking dust from Arena.
Just from constructed, you mean?
Yeah. Or sorry, from constructed. That would be wonderful. I'd be so happy about that.
I just like opening. I like the loots. So some sort of a cool chest to open at the end would be cool.
Exactly. Dills, you want to take the next email?
Sure. This comes from Matthew, who says, big fan of the podcast, but I had to write in after listening to the Hearth Stats episode. Your claim that Rogue having 49% win rate means Miracle is in a balanced state. Wait, that Rogue having a 49% win rate means Miracle is in a balanced state needs to be clarified. Those stats only include a total of less than 200 legend ranked games. If you said Miracle Rogue is balanced at rank 15 to 10, I would agree with you. I don't mean to come off as a rager, but those stats are far from accurate or useful when it comes to balance. And as someone who got stuffed repeatedly by rogues 2 wins away from legend, I had to write in about it.
You shouldn't have told me about.
A fair point.
He shouldn't have told me about being snuffed by 2 rogues, because now I do see him as a rager.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, it's a fair point. But the fact of the matter is, you can't say that something is imba based on only one thing. Like, you can't say at legend it's not balanced, so that means it's just not balanced. Period. Because where I'm playing, it's not balanced. That's just that's too broad of a statement based on too small of a survey. So, and we actually said in the article that these stats are skewed by the fact that these are people keeping track. And we also said in the episode that we would like to see some sort of ability to cut the stats up and say, show me the stats from rank 5 to 1. Show me the stats based only on legend. And actually, Chris was really into that idea. So we don't have all the tools to say exactly what these stats are at all the different places. But overall, Rogue's at 49%. So it's hard to argue that it's like completely screwed up. Um, but yeah, every deck has gone through a phase where it's affected the meta, and people have had to counter it. And Miracle Rogue went through that as well, and all of a sudden you see more of these Paladin aggro decks and stuff. So it's the rotating meta right now. And yeah, they've been on top for a long time though. So I don't think you're wrong. I just think that it's not as big of a problem as everyone's making it out to be. Just like all the other decks before it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for Murlocs.
Yeah, he makes a really good point though. But
He does.
You also make a point that we also kind of to a point address this. Not mean we're not going to sit there and have a discussion of the stats that we do have.
Exactly. These are the stats we do have. This is the way we can look at them. And that, the conclusions we can come to are only based on those stats. So I also have said on this show, hey, out of like the top 16 people from whatever season it was, like 15 of them were playing Miracle Rogue and the Leroy version of it. So obviously there's something going on here. And it's not like we shied away from that, but it's not. I don't think Miracle Rogue is just some unbeatable just like an auto win deck. It's just not. It's very good, but you still need to draw a stupid auctioneer. So.
Yep. Jocelyn, next email.
Sure, I was totally not just stealing questions out of the chat room. This one comes to us from Peter, who says, "Hello, Angry Chicken podcasters. I think Blizzard should add guilds to Hearthstone. Just like in WoW, the Guildmaster could create a tabard. The tabard would end up being a custom card back that people in the guild could use. This would also allow you to have a group of people you could play with that maybe you don't want to have on your friends list." I don't know the kind of people he's hanging out with that he doesn't want to have on his friend list, but
he wants them in his guild, but not on his friends list. Okay.
Yeah. They could even implement guild battles where two guilds could compete in a month-long tournament of sorts where the guild with the most wins wins something. Perhaps their guild tabard card back would have a golden border next month. I think it'd be a fun addition to the game. Great podcast. Happy patron. Cheers. So yeah, I love this idea. I think it'd be great. It's like they already have, like he mentioned in WoW, but then it's very similar to stuff that they have in Diablo where you have clans. So it would be really cool to be able to somehow group up, have a like guild, clan, whatever chat, and especially if you could do something like a card back, because Diablo has the banners that you can customize with like a set number of different things, colors, icons, whatever. And I think that would be a really cool addition to Hearthstone. What do you guys think?
I would love it.
All for it.
I think basically what it would most likely end up being, I mean, the guild battles seems a little unlikely, but I think what we'd probably see is, like something like, a tabard type of thing, which could be a card back, and you just have a chat channel where, so like right now there's a lot of Hearthstone teams, right? And people are teaming up and they're just on their friends list or whatever, but you could have, Mana Grind. Team Mana Grind is a guild. Team, Doge House is a guild. Like, all that kind of stuff.
I would love it.
It'd be really cool
if we had we could have an Angry Chicken chat channel.
We could have an Angry Chicken guild.
That would be. It would be awesome.
It'd be amazing.
Like I don't need to Dills isn't on. I really have a question about this deck or this card selection, and just type it in there. There's 20 people on. What do you guys think? It'd be nice on the fly.
One thing that would be a little bit funky though is that you can be in multiple guilds in like WoW and Diablo and stuff, right, with different characters. You don't really have that in Hearthstone, so that would be
with different characters. Yeah, I was like, you can't be in multiple guilds, and never mind.
You can't. I just like Dills is in this guild, and my other dude Paladils is in that guild. So they'd have to figure some way to figure that out. But I guess it wouldn't really be that important, honestly.
You just have to pick your guild. You just put more than one. If you wanted another one, make a new free account.
There you go.
Yep. Thanks for that email, Peter, and thank you for being a patron. That's awesome.
And good ideas.
Yes.
Everybody. All of our emails had good ideas.
Yeah.
Wow, we got a lot of questions from the chat room.
We have a ton of questions from the chat room. I'm not sure we'll be able to take all of these.
This is what happens when Jocelyn's here, is like we're actually, on top of stuff.
Oh, I guess rapid fire. Explode77, how do you feel if there was an option to have female or male avatars for the different classes? Great. Awesome. They've talked about having new avatars, and I'm sure some of them will be opposite sex from what their current option is.
I don't want them to force it though. I like the idea of a male and female option, but if there are no real good examples of like a female warrior or something, or a female or a male mage, like if there aren't good examples, I know there are, don't yell at me, wow, nerds, but just I know there's examples, but I'm just saying, like, if there isn't a really good one that jumps out at you from the lore, I don't want it to be forced and be like, oh, there's this like random opposite sexed character that's mentioned one time in like Lich King.
Here's random innkeeper when we could have had Sylvanas, but there was already a female, so we did random innkeeper. Yeah, I don't want that. I want the epic hero that I'm
but I
familiar
think
with.
that the good thing about WoW is there actually are so many freaking characters that there is a good one for pretty much all the classes.
There probably could be, yeah.
I can't really think of the big female Death Knight right now, but we don't have.
Yeah, but I was gonna say Death Knight.
That's the one. Yeah, there's only one Death Knight, guys. Yeah. There's only one. There must always be a Lich King.
I mean, there's also, you think about it right now, like it took me a while to think of who some of these people were, because again, like I play a lot of WoW, but it was like a reminder, like I haven't really thought about Gul'dan in a while. Oh yeah, that guy. He's underneath the dark portal. Oh yeah, I don't know. Actually, not everybody knows who the hell any of these people are. So
female warlock and female hunter would probably be. I mean, you've got rangers, like Risa would be. No, wait.
Yeah, there's female hunters.
I mean, technically, Sylvanas was a ranger before she was dead.
Yeah.
But she's a card. She can't be a card and a hero.
Well, that makes me sad because I would love to see a. Well, I guess it'd be weird if Jaina played Jaina. I'd love to see a Jaina card, but you should work for Blizzard. Anyways, moving on in the questions, we got a lot. CZG42 asks, "What's the worst card you love to see come up in Arena?" Easy answer for me. It's the Angry Chicken.
I take that every time, especially when I'm a hunter. I'm like, yes, it's a beast.
Oh man, that card has just because of this show. Just such a warm place in my heart.
I know, yeah. I have 2 golden ones, and I'll never disenchant them.
Good.
Yeah.
Good on you, Dills.
I have no friggin' idea what the worst card I'd love to see come up in Arena is, honestly. I hate all the bad cards.
Silverback Patriarch, man. You're hating on it. It does work.
No,
it does work.
Actually, you know what? When I play Priest, I've had a newfound love for the Lightwell, which is actually not a good card, but for whatever reason, I've made it work somehow a few times, and now I'm just like, hey, Lightwell, let's do this. So
let's go, Lightwell.
Yeah, it's me and you, Lightwell. They'll never kill us now.
Jocelyn.
Oh, I don't know. Angry Chicken's a really, really great pick.
It's a really great, terrible pick.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know.
Eye for an eye, Jocelyn. Come on. What are you talking about?
That's not a terrible card.
Why are we even debating
That
this?
is your pick. We're making a
Oh, sorry. That's a good card. Never mind.
It is,
That's
exactly.
a good card that comes up in Arena.
She will never admit. She'll never admit it. We're going to get really drunk at Nerdtacular together, and she's going to be like, guys, I know Eye for an Eye is a terrible card. Seriously, shut the hell up.
Well, we all know, though, that it's actually a decent card, but now Jocelyn is really just tied to the Demolisher forever now. So
dude, that is a good card.
It is a good card, but it's not like I pick it often, but it's not like one of those cards. It's like, oh, Demolisher auto pick, but it's
it is for me. No one ever used to expect it. Now everyone does.
Tied to it now, yeah. Oh, the Questing Dill's Venture. Did you guys see this, by the way? Somebody tweeted at me.
I did see that. It made me so happy. Your face fits way too well in that.
Pretty sweet.
I did not. Oh man, I'm gonna have to find that now.
All right, it's on Twitter somewhere. I'll have to retweet it.
Frogs SF asks, at what point will you have spent more money on Hearthstone than other Blizzard games?
Never, because of WoW.
Never because of WoW. Yeah, exactly. I've been playing WoW since vanilla, and I've jumped servers and factions so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't done that.
I'm missing literally one card, and that is Tink Master, and I haven't spent another dime since.
Really?
Yeah, since the last time Sean wanted me to open 40 packs on the stream. That was the last time I spent any money.
Well, how many times have you opened 40 packs?
3 times.
Okay, so one more than me.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm like, now you're pushing me over the edge. I'm gonna get that extra 40 packs.
Yeah, and I bought 2 packs like right when the beta hit, just to get the whatever the Mechatorque.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Let's see.
Quick fire ones we can do. Card dynamic would you most want to see added in Naxx for arena play? Well, they're not going to add any new dynamics. right?
And the next thing is really death rattles.
Yeah, we already know it's Deathrattles.
It's too hard to come up with a card, honestly.
Yeah. And
Rapid
we know
fires.
it's going to be Deathrattles.
Well,
Yeah.
Questing Deals Venture. Obviously.
There you go.
If should we ever see cards that even remotely reference our show, I'm going to lose my shit.
Amazing.
Question for the panel: what's the best card in Arena that is truly bad and constructed?
Cult Master.
That's
I talked
a
about it earlier.
really effing good example. It's hard to beat that one.
It's just really bad in constructed because it's just too slow. And the thing about constructed too is oftentimes everyone clears the other guy's board every turn, so you don't get these turns like you do in Arena where there's like 4 guys on board and I can trade and get draw 3 cards. So it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I would also say the what's the giant that's one less for every
Sea
creature?
Giant.
Sea Giant, yeah, Sea Giant.
The giant that doesn't make it into the handlock.
It never goes in any constructed deck because again, everybody clears the board all the time. So
Yeah.
That's the only giant I have.
oh,
That's
that
the
was
only
the first giant I
I
had too.
opened it. I opened it. I was like, oh my god, I got a giant. Oh, it's not the right one.
Jocelyn Katie's been playing free to play, and that's the only giant she got. I was just like, oh no, why?
It's
Why?
still an 8/8 though. When you're playing down at like the lower levels, it's still an 8/8. It's fine. Like I played that thing all the time when I first started playing, and it worked.
Finally, what about a Mr. Bigglesworth card in Nax? Yes, please. It better happen.
Sure.
It better freaking happen, and it better be a beast because I want a Mr. Bigglesworth in my hunter deck.
What if it's the hunter card? What if it's the hunter card?
Oh, you just blew my mind.
Well, wait. Are we getting Kel'Thuzad? We are getting Kel'Thuzad,
We
right?
have to get Kel. There's no
So
way.
then Mr. Bigglesworth makes a lot of sense. But can Mr. Bigglesworth not be a legendary? It's gotta be a legendary.
No. Can Mr. Bigglesworth be the legendary? And his death rattle is summons Kel'Thuzad. Huh? Bring it on.
Okay.
They wouldn't do it. I'm being
No.
facetious. Come on.
No, it wouldn't do that.
No.
But it would make a lot of sense because it is Nax, so Bigglesworth is a Nax. Could be cool. And you always had to kill it, right? You guys always had to kill it.
Yeah, you
right?
got to listen to Kel'Thuzad yell at you.
Yeah.
Gah! I forget what he yells at you. I just remember he goes, gah, before he starts talking.
Yeah.
I'm very, my mind is a steel trap for Warcraft references.
Clearly.
Exactly. Anyways, that'll do it for tonight's episode. Dills, you got to get out of here. What are we doing?
Actually, I'm good to go because apparently we can't do the show tonight because one of our guys is working or something, and one of the guys is at the game. So.
Oh, really?
Good to go. Yeah. So slow your roll, Garrett. Let's take it easy. Let's just,
All right, that's
just
good.
have fun on the way out here. More questions, guys? More questions.
More questions. We'll just keep going until we pass out.
No, I'm actually. I think I'm gonna stream a little bit
From delirium. Well, as always, we want to thank you guys who are backing us on Patreon over at patreon.com/TAC. All of our patrons are just freaking awesome. We can't thank you guys enough. We finally passed the $500 mark, which is just insane.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We're so jazzed. Thank you guys so much. This week, I want to make sure we always thank the patrons every week. This week, I wanted to thank Braska, Patrick J. C., Eagle Scout, Russell A., and Scott D. Thank you guys very much for being Angry Chicken patrons. We really appreciate it.
Is that Scotty D from Utah?
I'm pretty sure it is.
What's Scotty D's actual last name?
From Utah.
D.
I don't know Scotty D's actual last name, so I cannot tell you whether or not this is true or false.
His last name is from Utah.
Well, then it's not. It's not Scotty D from Utah. It's a shame. And also, those of you who have left us reviews in the iTunes store, if you're a podcast listener via iTunes, we really appreciate it if you like what we're doing. I wanted to thank Fun Cooker 62 this week. I have to read. I very rarely read reviews. This one made me laugh. It says, "Ear gauges. Can the holes ever be closed?" Great sound bites, guys. Keep up the good work.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Also wanted to thank Freezing Cold, spelled with a K, Dark Jinja Ninja.
Okay.
So many awesome names. And Super Knackley. Thank you very much for your iTunes reviews. We appreciate it. And thank you for your silly names. Any 5 stars from Canada there, Jocelyn?
Yeah, we got one from Van City Rich this week.
Cool.
Thank you, Van City Rich.
You have one?
Yeah, because Jocelyn gets to do Canadian people. So I'm just going to give love to random countries every week. So I went to the bottom of iTunes. I clicked the little American flag.
I always forget I can do that.
You left America?
Those colors don't run. Yeah, I've done it before, just to get Hearthstone on my iPad. But I then am going to just click a random country and see if there's 5-star reviews for us. And there is from Ireland.
Nice.
PSP Sully said, thanks for pulling this together every week. And our Hearthstone podcast is the best. Thanks, man.
Aww.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sure he said it in a cool Irish accent, but I don't have a good one.
You're not even going to attempt it.
Nah, it's just, it's racist.
For the best.
It's racist. Damn. Well, as always, guys, The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. Check out amove.tv, bookmark that site for all the shows that we do. You can catch Dills and I over on Into the Nexus, where we're talking about Heroes of the Storm, and Jocelyn, where she's playing Smite because she's still not in Heroes of the Storm.
What the hell?
Still.
I know people with certain abilities listen to the show. How are you not in that alpha yet?
But, Smite is really, really good, and I've actually been playing a ton with Octane Pro, so it's all good.
It's fun. It's fun.
Good game.
It has not sunk its hooks into me like Dota and Heroes has, though.
You should come play with us, dude. I play like every night. It's amazing. I'll probably play after this.
I played it really hard for like a month, and then I never went back to it. You can also email us at tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our forums are up and running. They've been going for a while. There's plenty of folks over there talking cards, talking the show. Go over to forum.amove.tv. Just sign up and start posting. Tell us why we suck. No, don't do that. We record the show live every Monday night right here on twitch.tv/amovetv. You can catch us at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have the mobile stream, which is provided by Alpha Geek Radio, which you can get by going to mobile.alphageekradio.com. If you're on the go, if you can't watch Twitch or whatever. We're on Twitter at TAC Podcast. I can be found at Garrett Art. Dills is at Willie Dills, and Jocelyn is at GIS Gamer. Also wanted to thank Brian Griffith, the musician responsible for our intro music. His website is briangriffithmusic.com. And my final personal pimp for the evening, before I let everyone else yap, because I yap a lot. I really do. Is my personal website, nomoonart.com. I'm a graphic designer. I do a lot of freelancing, helps pay the bills. So if you need a designer, check that website out. Dills, where can people find you where you're not talking? I would say when you're not talking about Blizzard games, but that wouldn't give you much to talk about. So where can people find you when you're not talking about Hearthstone specifically?
So you can find me on The Instance, which is the World of Warcraft podcast, so you don't have to. Friday mornings. We got back on it, and now that I just got my Warlords Alpha, going to have a good show next week. So look for that. Find me on Into the Nexus with Garrett and Kyle, and you can find me on the Torture Cast podcast by and about the best team in baseball, 42-21, 10 games above second place in our division. 21 games over 500. It's insane right now if you're a Giants fan. So it's crazy. We're unfortunately not doing a show tonight, but this is the best season ever to be doing a Giants podcast because there's like so much excitement going on right now.
I feel like if I was older, when I grew up during the 90s, this is how I would have felt as a Yankee fan because that's the last time they did really awesome.
And now they're not doing so good.
No, they're not. And it's Jeter's last season, and it makes me really unhappy.
At least you guys got that. Enjoy that,
Enjoy one of the greatest players of baseball history leaving in a season where the team's not doing well. How am I supposed to enjoy that
now? And send him off in style.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Whatever.
Also, of course, I do the Mediocre Golf Association. So if you like golf but you're not very good at it, we have the place for you to play. MJTour.com. Like I said last week, did I say it last week? We dropped our rap video. So if you want to see me rap,
you made it. Whoa! You made a rap video?
I made a rap
okay,
video.
I can never go away ever again. You guys just go way off the rails. No.
Jocelyn goes away for 2 weeks. She comes back.
Everything goes insane. Dills is making rap videos. What is happening?
What the hell?
We said eye for an eye was good. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
But yeah, so if you want to see me rap, you can do it. It's actually me rapping, by the way, and I actually also made the beat. I did all of the production work on it. So it's called "Stick from My Case." It's a parody of Stitch's "Brick in Yo Face," and it's about
I don't know that one
playing
either.
golf badly. It's fine. You don't have. He's from Miami though. Yeah. So Garrett probably
No, I don't,
Garrett
because
probably-
Miami's a whole
never mind.
other country. I don't go there. Ever.
I thought you guys all knew each other. Okay,
No,
I guess not.
No, Miami is.
Also, hearthhead.com. You can find articles for me every week, so check that out. And the 28th of this month, there's gonna be a big tournament at Folsom Street Foundry, and I will be casting it live on Twitch. And it's basically an open tournament. We will have a buy-in, but we're gonna have a prize pool of probably like at least $500, and depending on how many people buy in, the prize pool could get over $1,000. So
Nice.
it's fun. Like actually come in and play Hearthstone live against other people and have me cast your games. So
I'm so mad I don't live even remotely
I
near
know,
this,
man,
or
it
I would
sucks.
be on that so fast.
if you're good, bad, whatever, it's not going to cost you a lot, and it's just going to be super fun. So just come and play. And it's on a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday in June in San Francisco. So come on by. There'll be more information posted soon, but yeah, Folsom Street Foundry, June 28th, and I believe it's going to start like 11 or something like that. It's not going to start super early, but yeah, come hang out with me. We'll we'll kick it. We'll rap. We'll do some rapping.
Kick it.
No,
All
stop
right.
that now.
Jocelyn, what? Really?
No rapping. No music. No rapping. Stop it.
Beastie Boys are elevated beyond simple genre.
That's true.
Anyway,
But in Canada, apparently, not a lot of rap fans, huh? Is that what's going
No.
on? No.
it's okay, Jocelyn. I'm not a fan either.
Not
It's 'cause
right
you guys have
here.
Drake.
anyway.
That's your big rapper, is Drake. That's the problem. I'm sure there's really good rappers.
He is from
yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. The only one I know of is Drake. He apparently started from the bottom when he was on a TV show, Degrassi High or whatever it was called. That's the bottom, according to
Yep.
Jake. All right. Anyway, sorry to all the Drake fans out there.
I swear to God, Dills, one of these days we're gonna do a show where you and I just sit around and talk shit about music we don't like, and it's gonna be so much fun.
And talk about music we do like.
And talk about music we do like, and it's gonna be so much fun. You'll never hear Dills and I agree more than when we talk music.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
By the way, he was in a freaking wheelchair in that show.
He
How?
was.
Oh.
He's from the streets, man. He's from the streets.
That's what he means by starting from the bottom, from a seated position. He started from
on
his
a,
bottom.
on a television show that was syndicated to a mass audience. Jocelyn, where can people find you? Well, you've been spiraling down the.
You guys have snow too. Never mind. Sorry. Go ahead.
You can find me on the Gamers Inn every Friday night on A Move TV. We talk all things video games. So this week, obviously, is going to be really heavy E3 stuff. That's 8:30 Eastern on Friday nights. We also do streaming. Gamers Inn Game Night is Thursday nights. And that's basically just whatever our patrons vote that they want us to play. So we've done Diablo, Smite. I think we might be doing Injustice this week. We did Mass Effect last week. So lots of really cool random video game stuff. So check it out.
Awesome. Go check that out. I love the Gamers Inn. And E3, I feel like E3 was really good this year. There's a lot of exciting games that I'm not going to play anytime soon because they're not coming out anytime soon.
That seemed to be the general theme. It's like, oh, look at this cool thing we're doing in 2017.
Yeah, it's just like, what the
Damn it.
crap? Star Wars will be out before this game is out. What's going on? Which actually, that's kind of comforting. Very excited for Star Wars. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and sticking around through this spiral that was the outro of this show.
This is what happens when I don't have to do a show after.
I was
Then
gonna
we just
say,
like,
when we have to
hey,
be clear and
no
concise.
time limit now.
Just like I realize
Let's
Garrett's trying
rant.
to usher out the show, but no, let's just send this into a tailspin. Let's do it. And I'm just like, yeah, man, rain's off. It doesn't matter. I've already told them the show is over. If they want to stick around and hear us rant, they can. They can. I feel like you get the real Angry Chicken Trio in the last 10 minutes of the show.
Absolutely.
Everybody in the chat room.
Nerdtacular is going to be interesting.
I can't
Go to
wait.
the link I just posted.
I can't wait for Nerdtacular. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so soon.
It
It's
really
like, what,
is.
3 weeks?
Like 4 weeks.
In
kind of.
4
That's
weeks, I will be throwing the extra pillow at Dills to make him stop snoring. That's what's
Enjoy
going to be
that.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hopefully have a big weird beard by then. I'm going for it.
Oh, please do. That would be amazing.
I'll hopefully have my big weird growth removed before I go.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
No, I don't know. Trying to get in on the conversation. It just got awkward at the end. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. We'll see you all next week for episode 34 of The Angry Chicken. Until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!
It's back!